Texans offense has been getting a lot of attention for all the wrong reasons. Could the savior finally have arrived?
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it live.
It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the head.
It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. Very active day for the Texans on the practice field. Really some good news, some much needed good news as they head to this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video, the number one sports app in the game. Use the promo code LOCKER and get up to $100 back, up to $100. So you can get $100 deposit match up to $100. Just use the code LOCKER. Higher, lower resumes tomorrow. Hell, you can play them during baseball too. But higher, lower resumes tomorrow. We'll have one of those out for the Buffalo-Miami game. I use this as my score app now. It's the best score app in the game. I know we got muscle memory. We've been using the same ones for a long time, the same app. But this app is my score app. Got my survivor pool in it, got my fantasy league of 15 years transferred over there, and everything is fantastic. It truly is the best sports app, and higher, lower, one of the best games of skill when it comes to sports. So you follow them on social media. You can tell they actually love sports, have a passion for sports, and are just trying to profit off of it. And I'm a big fan of Sleeper, and I'm very happy to have them as a part of this show. Christian Kirk has not been a part of the Texans. But Christian Kirk has arrived. He is here.
Captain Kirk, can you sing me? Captain Kirk, I want to have your baby.
And there's a wonder I have right now when it comes to Christian Kirk. Could he be this year's Joe Mixon? Now, here is my layout of this theory. The Texans wanted Joe Mixon last year. They needed a running back. They traded for him to avoid him going on the market, and there was a big difference with Joe Mixon in the lineup as opposed to Joe Mixon out of the lineup. He brought something that no one else could bring. Same thing happened with Christian Kirk. Same exact thing. They traded the late round draft pick to avoid he was going to get waived, to avoid him going on the market. And in camp, he looked great. However, he ended up getting hurt, which might be bad news if you are dependent on Captain Kirk to save you. But I do think that there's a chance that this guy goes in there and it looks much different. And we'll hear from CJ Stroud a little bit later on. Today was his podium day. CJ Stroud kind of mentioned not having chemistry with these current receivers. But when he talked about Christian Kirk, he said that they got a lot of work in together. So I don't know if this was about Justin Watson. I know he mentioned the rookies as well, but CJ talked about the lack of chemistry. But despite the fact him and Kirk really had a lot of game action, he talked about how much work they did together. And you could tell they had a certain amount of chemistry in camp, but I did just find that a little bit interesting from CJ Stroud that was said. And speaking of Justin Watson, he's on IR, which means maybe we see more Higgins now. Higgins has 2 catches for over 20 yards, 2 explosive plays on 4 targets. So maybe we see more Higgins. I was quite frankly a little bit surprised how much we saw Justin Watson based on the upside and based on the investment and just based on what it looked like in camp. I think there was a time when, rightfully so, there was speculation as to whether or not Justin Watson even makes the team over John Mechie. When John Mechie kind of showed some life and he kicked around a little bit when it looked like he was on his way out. So maybe we get more Huggins. We're definitely going to get more Christian Kirk. Could Braxton Berrios factor in? We'll hear from him as well. But let's start with the man, Mr. Captain Kirk, Christian Kirk, back at practice. He was very honest. And I asked Christian Kirk about how he was feeling, what he brings. And then I asked him about his revenge game. Because he is one of the guys that will be looking for revenge. And we'll go through them. But here is Christian Kirk talking about trying to get some revenge against his former squad and how he's feeling. Now he's going to start off talking about Texas A&M. He's got someone brought up the Aggies and he's pleased, but it's very quick. You don't have to sit through that too long.
The better ones we've had as a program.
How are you feeling physically, and you feel like you're ready to contribute?
Yeah, I feel great. Obviously the injury was unfortunate, but it's a part of football, so it's all about how you respond and just work your way back and put in a lot of time to get myself ready to play. So just looking forward to getting back out there this week, getting integrated back into practice, and hopefully getting ready for Sunday.
Is there any extra motivation going back where you were last year?
This is honesty.
I mean, I think anytime you get traded away from somewhere, you feel like you need to prove something. But for me, it's just honestly getting back out on the field. It's been so long, since I've actually played in a game. So I'm just looking forward to just getting back out there, playing with this team, and hopefully getting us back on track.
So, spoiler alert here. This is a 100% spoiler alert. Tomorrow, when I do my first higher lower on Sleeper, Christian Kirk over yards will be selected. And I'm actually kind of intrigued to see what that number is. I bet it's going to be very low because they haven't seen really what he's capable of. I would actually assume, if y'all have your Sleeper apps, let me know in the chat. I know a lot of you do. Use the promo code LOCKER if you don't. Download it and go ahead and get it. But I think he is going to be a factor in this game. I think CJ has some chemistry with him. Let's hear more from him, though. Let's hear him get a little bit more in depth on the team, CJ, all that.
You mentioned third down. That's a down that's important, and you see different versions of coverages, man and whatever the case may be. And so I just feel like I can bring a sense of just reliability to be able to win, in tight situations, third down, critical downs in the red zone and whatnot. So I'm just going to go out there and, do what I'm best at and do what's required of me and what the, offense is asking of me. But like I said, I'm just excited to get out there and contribute.
Christian, how eager are you to play with CJ? I know you've probably watched him play for a couple of years. Is it exciting to finally get to play with him?
Very exciting. I thought we did a great job building a great rapport throughout training camp, made a bunch of plays, a bunch of explosives. We think the same, see offensively and defensive schematic wise the same way. So just definitely looking forward to get out there and really get that rolling and just keep building it throughout the season.
Christian, when a couple more guys disrupted by missing some time, how quickly does it come back? Because you and CJ have obviously played a lot of catch together.
It's like riding a bike. I've been in the league for a long time, been doing it at a high level for a long time. CJ's one that, especially when the lights are bright and you get in between the lines, it's second nature to him. So this week will be big for us during practice, just, things that are specific to Jacksonville and what they present, but I don't see us having any problems.
As you watch from afar, trying to get that first win.
Alpha Aaron. Alpha Aaron saying, don't talk over me.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I mean, the division games are the biggest no matter who you're playing. And so, it starts this week going down to Jacksonville. And so it's just a little extra motivation for the team. Obviously, we want to get that first win under our belt. Had two close games against two really good football teams. I think once we just clean up a few things and go out and execute, we'll end up on the right side of things. So I know everybody's eager to get back out there on Sunday.
I know we seem to always ask this when someone's out. Do you see something from the sideline that could help them that you wouldn't see if you're on the sideline or playing that would get this offense moving?
I mean, I think it is hard, when you're on the sideline. It's easier for somebody to say just watching it instead of being out there and in it. getting the full flow of the game, what the defense is presenting. But I just think it all comes down to execution offensively, just communicating. It's a new scheme, a bunch of different guys playing with each other for the first time. So that's just going to keep on evolving and getting better. The more practice we get, the more game reps we get. So definitely, feel like we're close, and we're going to take the next step here pretty soon.
All right, so it's official. He's allowed to play. He was not officially allowed to play. It's a DeMeco Ryans rule. A lot of y'all don't know this, but it is a DeMeco Ryans rule that you're not allowed to play for this football team until you use the word execute. So fortunately for him, about 3 minutes into his media availability, he said execute. So now DeMeco's going to let him suit up. He wasn't going to let him do it until he said that, but he said execute. So there we go. Christian Kirk is back at practice. And I got to tell you, I think that Christian Kirk is going to be a big factor. How much of a factor? Can he be a savior? Don't know. But we've got to look at this. And if you follow this channel, this started as soon as Nick Caley was brought in. What was my emphasis on Nick Caley? Did multiple videos on it that where he comes from, it's either 2 tight ends or multiple slots. And at the start of the season, 2 of the 3 slot receivers that they were going to use got hurt, and Berrios, who we'll hear from a little bit later, and Christian Kirk. So that completely eliminated what I want to see from Nick Caley. That was what I wanted to see. I saw DJ Bieneme of ESPN. He did a piece on motion and the percentages in the Bobby. It's a good breakdown. Go check out DJ's Twitter. He wants more motion. And the emphasis is, well, Bobby did this, blah, blah, blah. I thought we were trying to do the opposite of Bobby. So quite frankly, that just kind of is what it is. Motion, all that, their stats, whatever. So peep that. Shout out to DJ for doing his thing. What I personally wanted to see, and what I've said 100 times, is I want to see how Nick Caley works multiple slot receivers. And he's going to have 3 this week. For whatever reason, they don't trust Jalen Noel. I don't get it. But they don't trust Jalen Noel. And I also wonder, and I asked Berrios this question. I was kind of laughing. He kind of laughed. He kind of smiled at me. He knew kind of where I was going with it. I wonder how this team is going to think, and if we are going to get to a point where they are so obsessed with vets instead of rookies that they put Berrios back there instead of Jalen Noel. I think that would be a big mistake. I think that would be a really big mistake of them to do that. I think you leave Jalen Noel back there. You put Christian Kirk or you put Berrios at kick return, but I think you leave Jalen Noel at punt return. We'll see what they do. But we finally get to see the slot action from Nick Caley, which is what I wanted to see in the first place. We'll get to the super chat. First, I want to talk about my guy. Shout out to Dan and his team out there at Texans Turf. Best thing I did for my home. I'm not just saying this. I really was a customer before. I'm not one of these guys who just endorses anything. I wanted turf in my backyard. It's a smaller backyard. A lot of ballers Dan has worked with. And the difference between Dan and these other turf companies, some of them just take the big-ass job. They just take the big job, and that's where they direct all their attention. He's done some of the big ones. Some of the biggest names in town, some of the richest names in town. He's done their turf, but he also does people like me, and he customizes it. Whether you want the putting green, the play area, whatever, it lasts. There's no mud. There's no insects. There's a lot of frogs in Houston. Don't have frogs back there anymore. And you can walk around there barefoot. It's easier to clean up after the pet. I absolutely love it. They got the financing. They got the military discount. Dan and his team, they work their ass off, and they give you pride in your backyard, front yard, wherever you want it. If you just want it as a play area, they got you covered. So shout out to Dan. Go to TexansTurf.com. I shopped around for you, so you don't have to. And I'm telling you, I was a customer before. I'm going to be a customer as long as I live. Every home I live, anytime someone asks, I tell them Texans Turf, and they end up thanking me, which is the same thing you'll do. If you've thought about getting in this turf game, go ahead and do it. give Dan a call. Dan truly is the man. Braxton Berrios. We'll hear from him in a second. First, let's go to the chat. A lot of people got a lot of opinions today, especially about the quarterback, CJ Stroud, most important position in football. One more polarizing ones too, especially with what CJ's put out there lately. But let's get to the chat. Trey of Texas has a comment.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Says, what's the over-under of how many weeks Kirk will be active before he misses more time? Damn, man. What a buzzkill, Trey. I'm going to have to smoke some more of that
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the
You
streets.
just killed my high, man. I'm sitting here talking about how big Christian Kirk is, and you're asking me to handicap how long it'll be. I'll say 4 weeks. So Raj says, watch Jaw on the Houston Collective. That was a fun watch. All of you should do that on Mondays at 6. It's myself, Stoots, Sean Pendergast, Reginald Atatula. It's good 4-man crew. Got to put together the best crew possible. We did. Go subscribe to that. Shout out to Hog Media for making that possible. Dave Russ says that's not a 4-head. Kirk has an 8-head. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Captain Kirk, can you sing me? Captain Kirk, I want to have your baby.
I'm going to see that Kanye West movie either tomorrow or Friday. It did remind me of what the projection screen looks like, if we're being honest. Some would say you could play wall ball off that. I'm just kidding, Christian Kirk. I'm just kidding. He set me up there. I'm just kidding. Space Age 713 says, man, is it me or am I tripping? I just don't trust Kirk. I don't know that you're tripping. I mean, think about it. Like, if you're a Texans fan and they sign Christian Kirk, you convince yourself that Christian Kirk might be good, but your biggest reservation is perhaps that he might get injured. And then before they even play a game, he gets injured. Yeah, I would have trust issues too. I mean, there's reason for optimism based on what we've seen and based on what we've talked about, or I've talked about Nick Caley being able to do. But yeah, why would you not have trust issues if things go down like that? I don't blame you. Knuckles. CJ thoughts. Man, I don't like CJ as my QB, and it's not because of talent or lack thereof. He's a downer. Pouty kid-like energy. Seems unable to rally anyone around him. Him and D'Amico been off since day one. I don't know about since day one. You weren't saying this year one, Knuckles. You weren't saying this year one. Maybe last year there's been a little bit of disconnect, but we weren't saying this year one. Let's be fair. But you're not the only one saying this. There are a lot of people who feel the same way you do. And those of you that don't feel that way, whether you're watching or whether you're watching live or you're watching after, let's listen to CJ speak and let's kind of get a look at what the vibe is with the QB if he's feeling himself. Parada Bros says, could it be Kirk is the missing piece physically and mentally for CJ? CJ seemed to light up when he talked about their preseason chemistry. Or is this Cope? No, they definitely had that. And I definitely think CJ likes throwing the guys out of the slot. The flag route to Kirk was a big part of camp. So, yeah, I think that he really is looking forward to throwing to him. It is kind of dangerous. And I'm saying this as someone who's doing it to look at him as the savior. But I do like that they have multiple slots, including Braxton Berrios. Braxton Berrios will be back. Caught up with Braxton Berrios, asked him a few questions, asked him about Jalen Knoll. He kind of knew where I was going there. But Braxton Berrios, ultimate professional, another slot guy. Can't hurt. He looked good in preseason too. Let's hear what old Berrios has to say.
How you feeling physically, and you good to go?
Yeah, good to go. Feel good. yeah, been rehabbing the last 2 weeks, and we're ready.
How hard is it to watch from the side, especially the way the games have gone down?
Yeah, something obviously you're not really used to, and being so close to season, obviously that added frustration, and we're really close in those ball games, and it's tough when you maybe could have helped, but you can't.
How do you think that your return and Kirk's return is going to be able to help free up some of that pressure that they've been putting on the defense? They've been putting on Nico.
Yeah, hopefully, obviously, be an outlet and a trusted guy for CJ. Be a quick answer. Know what he's seeing. Know what he's feeling as far as the rush goes, and be where it needs us to be. That's hopefully the plan.
How eager are you to get out there and play with CJ in a real game?
Yeah, very, very. We've practiced for I guess months now, so it's time to turn it loose.
What's been your observation of the offense the last couple of weeks, just being all over?
Yeah, obviously we've done a lot of good things. There's a play here and there that changed the game that maybe we don't make for whatever reason. Things that we miss, things that we should be on that we're not. But overall, obviously it's a very good offense, and we just got to mesh a little better, and we got to make those plays in the crunch times.
What do you think about the way Knowles returned punts in your absence?
Yeah, no, he's done a great job. He's going to do that for a long time in this league, and obviously set up a huge score with like 50 some yarder. But no, he's done a great job.
All right, there we go. So that's Braxton Berrios. What will his role be? I think we see him in the offense. It feels like Nick Caley likes vets, man. And say what you want about these two guys. They're vets, and they're slot guys like we've talked about. So I think we see him in the offense. He's definitely going to be back on kick return. The other thing to keep an eye on is Kamari Lassiter appeared in the injury report with a knee. He was limited. And Jalen Smith did not practice. So they might be thin at corner, which would mean Tremont Smith, you might not want him returning kicks because he'll probably be playing a little bit more corner, perhaps. And then you definitely have Berrios back on kick return. But I don't see how you take Noel out of his punt return role, especially given the fact that he's not playing a lot of offense. They might end up trusting Berrios more than Noel, which is crazy. Or maybe it opens up a lot more possibilities and a lot more options. Maybe having the vets out there helps Noel. But I do think we see more slots, and I think it would be almost a damn shame if Braxton Berrios comes back. And I know he's had some good times as a return man. I have no problem with putting him back there at kick. But Jalen Noel right now is second in the league in punt return yards per return. And I know that he had the one long one, but I mean, it's looked pretty good even on the kick returns and everything like that. So I would put both of them back there on kick return, and I would put Noel back there at punt return. But we'll see what they do. I think there's a few people that might think that's a little bit crazy. Speaking of receivers, guy who's been getting a lot of criticism that will be on the other side this week. Brian Thomas was a full go at practice. I don't know what to make of this. So Brian Thomas, if you have him on your fantasy team, hasn't been great. He's also getting his toughness called out. And they're also saying he has a wrist injury, even though he's a full go at practice. He's getting interviewed about his spirit. He's getting interviewed about everything. Is that really what you want going into the big game? Like if you want everything laid out, do you want Brian Thomas with like a chip on his shoulder? Now he's going to have to answer to fellow LSU Tiger Derek Stingley, which I think Sting can clearly hold his own in that matchup. I think Lassiter can, assuming he's a good go. I don't know that you want like a motivated Brian Thomas Jr. We'll keep an eye on that. If Trevor Lawrence can throw him some catchable balls, which he actually did last week, and Brian Thomas did not come up with them. On the soup, Cougar says everyone's saying CJ is trash or not a franchise QB. Stay on that side. And I'm not saying that to those who are criticizing while still keeping in perspective. It's fair. It's fair. So you want a line in the sand. He wants a line in the sand. Either you believe CJ is a franchise quarterback, you can come to this side, or you don't. Go to that side. And if he proves he is, keep your ass over there. That's what he's saying. He's not playing like one. He's not playing like one. Does that mean that he won't be one? No. It's early. But he's definitely not playing like one. He hasn't performed like one. And you can make a case to the organization. I think it's an easy case to make that the organization has not put him in the best position to succeed. Let's hear from that franchise quarterback, and then we'll get into the revenge matchups on Sunday as we are fully on to Jacksonville here in the locker room. By the way, with the Watson injury, the Texans did add a JAG, J-A-G, just a guy. They got the JAG Sunday. They added just a guy, Brendan Bates, tight end. Some are like, well, what about this guy? I have no idea. I'm not one of these guys who can pretend to be an expert on Brendan Bates. If he's active, we'll check it out, but don't know. Don't know about Brendan Bates. Apologies in advance for not knowing much about Brendan Bates. No, he played like 7 games, Browns. Let's hear from CJ. Are we vibe checking, CJ? Are we checking what the vibes are? It's been a popular topic. Some people don't like the CJ vibe. Let's hear what CJ had to say.
CJ, talking to Coach, he emphasized because you guys are not far away. What is the feeling for you and the guys in the locker room about close or not close, or just kind of where you guys need to?
They were really close. We're like 1 or 2 plays away from, winning tight games against good teams. And it's only 2 weeks in, so, we're still building, still growing, still, getting used to playing with one another. So, but yeah, we're very close.
Is it I'm sure it is, but I just want to ask you, is it difficult to not get the results as quickly as you would otherwise like it, and how do you handle that?
Of course, yeah, it's not like ideal, but what you gonna do, cry about it and, just be a Debbie Downer? I don't know. There's time and place for that, but I think like 2 weeks in, can't lose your mind, but also can't be too relaxed. So it's a little bit of a balance.
What are some things that you want to see? I mean, obviously it's a team effort, but personally, you think about, okay, these are some things I really need to focus on. What is that for you?
I don't know, everything. I can always be better. I told D'Amico the other day, if anything he sees or anybody sees I can be better in, let me know. I think my process has really been good lately. I see the field well, putting the ball where it's supposed to be, with the coverages and whatnot. And some things it's just I didn't really get a ton of reps with some of the guys we're getting in the game at receiver. So that's a little bit of a challenge. But I think that's one of my biggest things, just being the coach on the field, and taking that step. And it takes time. It's not overnight. So that's an area I think I can grow.
After games, what's your process? Do you critique yourself, or do you talk to other people about how you did, what you did good, what you did wrong? How do you go maybe on a Monday or Tuesday this week, as it were?
Yeah, I have my process. I go through the film by myself, watch it with Gerard, and watch it with D'Amico, and yeah, that's my process.
And then what's the next step after that?
It's kind of interesting that he thinks he's seeing things and hitting it. So I don't know. Kunkel's about to try to get deep, so we'll hear what Kunkel says.
Can you kind of see where you need to go from there?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of these questions are kind of the same from last year. Does it feel like an extension from last year, or is this just very different? How do you explain it?
That's for y'all to tell. I mean, I know this is separate from how I feel or how the locker room feels. So yeah, I'm kind of getting used to that whole idea of you're the hero or the zero, and then when you're not doing well, everybody's questioning your process, your meeting time, you're this, you're that. And that's exactly what y'all's job is, and it's respect. I always try to give y'all respect and honor y'all's job. But yeah, I have my own reasoning and idea on how the season is going, and that might be different from other people. So, yeah, I don't really have a ill will or like a idea on each side. Like, it's all separate to me. I don't try to, whatever we're doing in the locker room or like on the field doesn't trickle to y'all. Whatever people are questioning or like the media fans, what they're saying is different from like what's coming in the locker room. So,
is it kind of weird that we'll go back to this? Is it kind of weird that he's saying he's getting used to it? Like, he was at Ohio State. I've seen how their media is. Their media is crazier than Houston's by far. The pressure of being an Ohio State quarterback is, I mean, it's as high as any QB in the league. First year after he did what he did, I mean, he was all over the place. Now those clips are kind of reemerging. And then he went through last year, and now here he is here. He said he's getting used to it. That is surprising, is it not? Y'all not think that's a little bit interesting that he's getting used to it? I mean, let me go back to that real quick. I think that's just that he's human, so whatever. It's just interesting.
everybody's questioning your process, your meeting time, your this, your that. And like, that's exactly what y'all's job is, you know, and it's respect. I always try to give y'all respect and honor y'all's job. But yeah, I have my own reasoning and idea on how the season is going, and that might be different from other people. So, yeah, I don't really have a ill will or like a idea on each side. Like, it's all separate to me. I don't try to, whatever we're doing in the locker room or like on the field doesn't trickle to y'all. Whatever people are questioning or like the media fans, what they're saying is different from like what's coming in the locker room. So,
I guess the question is like the lack of success that you have offensively. Like, you're frustrated. D'Amico says you got to be better. You know that you got to be better. Like, is it some of the same stuff as last year or no?
No.
Okay.
CJ is a quarterback who took a lot of hits last season, took a lot of sacks last season. How are you able to flush out everything that happened and not think about that maybe within like the first two games here when there's some type of pressure around you, when people are at your feet and things like that?
It's not easy, you know, taking hits and, yeah, you try to sit in there and have confidence in, you know, up front, and that's what I try to do, and I think I'm a really good pocket passer. So I try to just sit in there, stand strong, and make plays, and kind of done a good job of, you know, extending plays last couple years. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and yeah, it's not easy just to sit in there all the time. Yeah, there's our big guys hitting you, so it's not always easy.
From a personnel standpoint, you get Christian Kirk, Braxton Berrios, and your center, Jake Henry's back today. Give you guys a boost?
Yeah, definitely. You know, some of the guys that I practice with a lot in camp definitely will help, you know, in these upcoming games and getting that rapport down with him.
What does Christian bring? What do you like about his game?
He's very smart, very savvy, fast, runs great routes, great hands, a leader, somebody who loves ball, so all those things.
CJ, last year you got an opportunity when you had a chance to watch Travis Hunter play some in Colorado. Now, what have you seen on tape, you know, out of the first two games getting ready to go up against him this season?
Yeah, they got a lot of trust in him. You know, they're putting him a lot of one-on-one. He's in on third down a bunch, corner. Can line up in the slot as well. Yeah, he does a good job. You know, he's good with his technique, his leverage. One thing I remember about him is he's a ball hawk. You know, he plays the ball well, so he's a good player.
What are some of the pros and cons of living in? You guys have kind of been in a lot of close games since your rookie year. What's kind of like the pros and cons of that versus sometimes some more blowout wins in the midst of that? Because you guys do have the talent to win more convincingly. So what's just kind of pros and cons within that?
I mean, how many blowout wins do you see a week? Maybe one, two. Yeah, and that's very lucky. And we've had those games. Like, we played New England last year, had a really good game against them. Played the Chargers. Same thing. My rookie year, we had a couple blowout wins. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you can blow everybody out, that's the NFL. It's the best players in the world for a reason, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't care how it looks, where it's at. You just want to win. So, yeah.
Hey, CJ, last year you talked a little bit about being able to wanting to use your legs a little bit more, although you are definitely a pocket passer. You've done that this year. Are you feeling stronger? How is that? How do you feel when you're kind of scrambling now?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel good, and I feel fast, elusive, and strong. And yeah, I think even my receivers are out there blocking for me, and I also try to keep my eyes down the field too. So try to just have a little bit of a balance. But I like doing it.
We got time for a few more, y'all. Sorry. CJ, your rookie year, you all started out 0-2, and now you're in that same position right now. You're going in, in year 3. How are you able to use some of what you went through in 2023 to build off of that to, as you go through this adversity, even though it's only been 2 games?
I like it. I don't like it, but I'm saying I like that I've had a history with this. One thing that I've learned is like when you lose or when you're not doing the best is when the people who really support you and who don't come to fruition and are, they voice their opinions and good or bad. So for me, it's really good to look myself in the mirror or look around who's around me, see who's really for me, who's not. And I think for this team, the same thing. So I'm actually, in those times grateful because I know what type of team we are. We're very close. If we don't make a couple mistakes in the fourth quarter in the Rams game and this past game, everybody's smiling and saying how great we are. So, I don't have faith in man. I have hope in man. But my faith is in God, and I know He has me in this position for this team, for this coach, for everything for a reason. So I'm happy and I'm hopeful and faithful to the process. And it's not overnight, so I'm just staying true to it.
Earlier you were talking about how your idea of how this season is going so far is different to what our idea may be, that what we think is different, what you guys inside the locker room think. What is your idea of how this season is going so far?
I'll probably keep that to myself. I don't really want to, my business and, yeah.
CJ, what do you think about the job Jalen Noel has done? Just to step out there and be willing to make plays. Obviously, the return when the game's on the line is huge. The confidence he brings and the willingness to go out there and do his thing this early in his career.
I thought he's done a good job, especially, this past game with special teams and not always getting the ball and the offensive side. He's done a good job of having a good attitude and, getting the plays that, that he gets and doing as best he can. And, him and Hig, they're still learning. Still got some things that we're figuring out together just as a whole. So I think, definitely right then again, see Kirk will help those guys, as he's in the room and, on game day they can see him and how he works and the type of route distribution he has. And not to say they're not doing their job, but just, like that veteran feeling that he'll bring to the room. But Jay No is doing a great job and Hig is as well. So they're still growing and learning and they'll be great players.
How are you? You had high praise for Travis Hunter and seeing the stuff he was able to do when it comes to the rest of the defense from what you've seen for Jack.
All right, that's enough of that. I don't know. People got a lot of opinions about it. It's definitely a different vibe. It's similar to last year. It's not like it was 2 years ago. It's early. Pretty much everything that you can say about CJ, you'd say. We just got to see what he does this week. Because if they lose this week, then if he thinks the sky is falling, then it'll be crazy. I think it's interesting how he says, people who believe in you and stuff like that. I don't know what all that means. And then keep to myself how the season's going. I don't know, man. It's definitely an interesting vibe, to say the very least. Now, let's kind of intensify things a little bit. Let's talk about the 3 revenge matches on Sunday. We all remember last year. Azeez Al-Shaair, Trevor Lawrence, a little bit of a late slide. Azeez Al-Shaair knocks his block off, gets the penalty. The suspension, I can understand. The extra stuff after, where John Runyon criticized him and people were attacking him and all that, that was quite a lot. Cody Stoots asked Azeez about returning to Jacksonville. This is what he had to say, as he will be looking for that revenge against the Jags.
Looking for revenge.
Do you expect anything extra from either the Jaguars or even Jaguars fans?
I expect, I've gotten all type of crazy stuff since that day, still get it to this day from people just in general. I don't know if they're fans of football or they just hate me. either way, that's between them and God. But I have no clue. I know I'm gonna go out there and do what I've done my entire career, play as hard as I can. Anybody who got the ball in their hand, that's what I'm trying to hit, and just do my job.
Is there anything that's going to be in the back of your mind since this is the first time you faced them since that happened? Is it anything you think of at all?
Just try to hit him as hard as I can, do my job like I always do. It's really nothing different. Just I think it's definitely a personal thing in a way, because it's just about the credibility of my name. But I guess that's more just how I attacked the whole season. Because obviously that was a league-wide thing that they tried to make me out to be somebody that I wasn't. So I think for me, I've just kind of been trying to prove a point every single week, of who I am, and I play hard, but I play the game the right way. So that's just what I'm gonna keep doing.
And I don't think he's going to change the way he plays. I don't think he's really concerned about it, but he is going to get some smoke for sure. Now, will there be extra stuff from the Jags? Who knows? The fans, I got a feeling they're going to be booing like crazy. Next revenge game. We already heard from the man.
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
And he's been very honest about it.
Looking for revenge.
Christian Kirk playing against his former team. First game as a Texan. That generates excitement, and a team that wanted no part of him. They got rid of you. They gave you away. They were either gonna cut you, and instead they took Texans late draft pick. So Christian Kirk had a good year in Jacksonville. Then he got a little bit banged up, but he's going to be looking for revenge. And if you're someone who's excited about him, the fact that he acknowledges that he has that extra motivation, it's not just, someone like me or someone in the chat or another media type saying it. The fact that he acknowledges that that is a thing adds a little bit too. This one, I don't know. This is just kind of a joke. It's just kind of funny.
Looking for revenge.
Eric Murray versus the Texans. One of the most shocking things of the offseason was Eric Murray just getting broke off like the Jags. For someone that a lot of people think is just okay, including myself, the first contract he got with Bill O'Brien and the POS, person of service, Jack Easterby, and the Texans was crazy. Then he kind of became a player where he was taking up an appropriate amount of the pie on the salary cap, and it kind of matched the type of player he was. And you could actually have made a case later on that maybe he was a little bit underrated. But the fact that Jags broke him off this offseason was just kind of hilarious. It was actually kind of funny, kind of amusing. But it did happen. And maybe he wants to stick it to the Texans. Maybe he thought the Texans should have broke him off again. Who knows? He's gotten a couple of shout outs. I think D'Amico shouted him out at the press conference, and Eric Murray. Maybe this defense, maybe the tackling is bad because of Eric Murray. I'm just kidding. But it's crazy that Eric Murray is there. It's going to be a fun game. CJ Stroud's got an interesting vibe. The 0-3 thing, though, it's one thing to talk about 0-2. 60+% of the teams that start out 2-0 make the playoffs. 0-2, I think 2 teams last year in the NFL started out 0-2 and made the playoffs. But once you get to 0-3, we've actually seen it around here. But once you get there, it's tough to get to the playoffs. The Texans are the only team this century. I'll bring up this graphic because this is a hell of a graphic right here. We all remember Bill O'Brien. How could we forget the 2018 Houston Texans? They started out 0-3. And they completely turned it around. Now, ended up getting their ass whooped in the playoffs by Andrew Luck and the Colts. But the Texans are the only team this century to start out 0-3 and make the playoffs. That is insane. But it puts in perspective, how crazy starting 0-3 is. Now, I will say this, though. They have expanded the playoffs. So who knows how many teams perhaps would have made the postseason. I'm sure it's not that much larger of a list, but starting 0-3 and making the playoffs is tough. And worst case scenario, if you can win this game, you bring the Jags down to you. You got the old Oilers, the Titans coming to town next week. Always one of the most anticipated games. And you got a chance to start out 2-0 in the division. Now, DeMeco Ryans has never lost a road division game. The Texans have won 11 straight division games on the road. The AFC South has been very good to the Houston Texans. So this will be something. Now, I don't know how extreme things get if it's 0-3. I don't know who people are mad at. But you got to think the big three, DeMeco, Caserio, Stroud, there's going to be a little bit of fire if they start out 0-3. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. They got to win this game. They got to win this game. And based on recent history, they're going to the right spot. Shout out to Sleeper again for sponsoring the video. Get a $100 deposit match up to $100. Use the code LOCKER and enjoy the game. Higher, lower, score app, all that. I'll be on it tomorrow. You can tag along. We're up on the season, and it's only going to continue. Shout out to Texans Turf as well for sponsoring. Back at practice tomorrow, we'll hear from Nick Caley. Whew. What is he going to have to say? Nick. I got some questions for Nick. Boy, do I got some questions for Nick. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Season in full effect, but they got to win this game. They've got to win this game. Confidence level, probably not too high, but it's got to happen, or else the sky might be falling. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
Got the game in the headlock, localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not 2, plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1, you don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the